So in this video, we're going to continue talking about substitution, but we're going to talk about special cases where contradictions are identities. So special cases happen when you solve systems, and sometimes you'll encounter situations where all of the variables cancel. So there are two types of such cases, identities or contradictions. So what happens is you'll have to ask yourself whether the final equation that you get is always true or never true. So if you get a final answer of something like 2 equals 2, that is something that is always true. So in this case, the solution would be all real numbers, and this situation is called an identity. If you get something that is never true, so for example, if you get a final answer of 7 equals 5, that means you will have no solution, and this situation is called a contradiction. So remember how we solve by substitution. You're going to solve one of the equations for one of the variables if it's not already solved, then substitute this expression into the other equation, solve for the remaining variable, and then plug this variable into one of the equations to solve for the other variable. So let's try solving this equation by substitution. So we have y equals negative 3x plus 2. So I'm going to take that negative 3x plus 2 and plug it into this equation where I have y. So I have 3x plus negative 3x plus 2, and that equals 1. So in this case, I have nothing to distribute because I'm just adding them. So I have 3x plus negative 3x plus 2, and that equals 1. So here I can combine this plus negative into a subtraction. So I have 3x minus 3x plus 2 equals 1. So the 3x and minus 3x will combine, and that gives me 0. So I have 0 plus 2 equals 0, which will simplify to 2 equals 0. So that is something that is never true, right? 0 equals 2 is just, it doesn't make any sense. So it's never true, so that is why this system will have no solution. So now let's try solving this system by substitution. We have x equals negative 2y plus 1, and we have 2x plus 4y equals 2. So now we have this first equation, which is already solved for x. So I'm going to take that definition and plug it into the second equation. So we have 2 times negative 2y plus 1 plus 4y equals 2. So we're going to start off by distributing this 2. So we have 2 times negative 2y plus 2 times 1 plus 4y equals 2. So 2 times negative 2y is negative 4y plus 2 times 1, which is 2, and then we have plus 4y equals 2. So when we combine these like terms, this negative 4y and plus 4y, and then we have plus 2, that equals 2. So negative 4y plus 4y is going to cancel. That's going to simplify to 0. So we have 0 plus 2 equals 2, which gives us 2 equals 2. So this is something that is always true, right? That is an identity. 2 always equals 2. So all real numbers will be the solution to this system of equations because this system of equations is always true. So remember, if you're solving and get an equation that always makes sense, for example, 2 equals 2, then your system has infinite solutions. The solutions will be all real numbers. If you're solving and get an equation that makes no sense, for example, you get 0 equals 5, then your system has no solution.